preliminary reports to the British-Russian conflict to the British ambassador, saying London will pay for the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage. Liz Truss blew it up, and details to be released. Britain and Russia are at war, if not on the brink of conflict, as Moscow handed the British ambassador evidence of Britain's involvement in both the attack on Sevastopol, the Crimea bridge, and the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipelines. Along with the evidence, Moscow delivered an ultimatum to Britain and revealed that the same evidence would soon be made public. Russian sources speak of a very bad atmosphere in the meeting with the British ambassador, where threats and promises prevailed that London will pay dearly for what happened. At the same time, the Secretary of the Security Council of Russia, Nikolai Patrushev, in his statements referred to the infamous message of Liz Truss to the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Therefore, it's not just a rumor, but indeed Liz Truss made that biggest blunder in history. The Russians will prove that the British government is guilty of bombing another country's critical infrastructure. It's not just an act of international terrorism, but it is an act of war. It seems that the British are afraid that something serious is about to happen. Let's see the sequence of events. First is the blast of the Nord Stream pipelines. Following is the Russian missile incident against the RAF RC-135W Rivet Joint. Later, the British Ministry of Foreign Affairs rushes to the U.S., refusing to use the confidential communication channels with Washington. The reason? They feared that after the Liz Truss incident, the Russians had hacked other British communication systems. British operations blew up the Nord Stream pipelines, and that is why she quit. It's recalled that on Wednesday, November 2nd, Maria Zakharova, the representative of the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said that the British ambassador will be given all the evidence that proves the involvement of Great Britain in the attacks against both the Nord Stream natural gas pipelines and the Russian naval station in Crimea. In fact, Zakharova pointed out that these attacks will not go unanswered. It's not just the pipelines, it's also the Crimea Bridge and then the Black Sea Fleet in the Black Sea. So all of that was done with Crimea was done with air drones, and the Black Sea Fleet was done with sea surface drones. So while she had Zakharova assured that after the official information from the British side, all the material would be made public either through the website of the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs or through social media. So let's start from the beginning. The British ambassador to the Russian Foreign Ministry, British Ambassador Deborah Braunert, was summoned to the Russian Foreign Ministry today and arrived shortly after 10:30 a.m. Moscow time. On her arrival, she was greeted by a crowd shouting anti-British slogans and holding placards reading "England is a terrorist state," and she left after about half an hour. The reason the ambassador was summoned was to directly confront the British involvement in the recent attack on Russian naval vessels near Sevastopol and the bombing of the Nord Stream pipelines weeks ago. That was on September 26th. The Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharova told the media, "There's no doubt that British intelligence was involved in the terrorist attack on the Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol on October 29, and the act of sabotage against Nord Stream pipeline. We will not be left without a reaction. We have stated this to the Security Council. We have spoken about this publicly. The British ambassador has been summoned and given the relevant material. The same material will also be available to the general public." Earlier, Zakharova said, "They tried to absolve themselves of responsibility for the terrorist attack. They said they were not even aware of such a thing. It was a very strange reaction. They have contacts, as they always have, with the Russian Ministry of Defense." She concluded her remarks by saying, "There is no doubt that British intelligence was involved in the terrorist attack on the Black Sea Fleet base in Sevastopol on October 29 and the act of sabotage against the Nord Stream pipeline. We will not be left without a reaction," Zakharova said. "We have stated this in the UN Security Council. We said it publicly, And of course, as I have already said, the British ambassador will be called and the relevant material will be given to her. I promise you that the evidence that will be given to her will also be made available to the general public, Zakharova said. And as she said, immediately after informing the British ambassador, the information would be made public. She also referred to the reaction of the Minister of Defence of Great Britain. She said they tried to absolve themselves of responsibility for the terrorist attack. They said that they were not even aware of such a thing. And that was a very strange reaction, she said. They have contacts, as they always have, with the Russian Minister of Defense. First, they could have tried to clarify some things. It turned out that they knew the answers to all the questions in advance, which is strange. In the end, no one doubts that they were behind the attack. It was a confirmed fact, underlined Zakharova. In addition, Russia warns that such confrontational actions by the British carry the risks of escalation and may lead to unpredictable and dangerous consequences. The Russian Foreign Ministry claims that the British have transported UUVs to Ukrainian territory. Those are the drones. The United Kingdom has trained minesweeper crews for Ukraine and has also transferred a certain number of unmanned underwater vehicles to Kiev, the Russian Foreign Ministry said in a statement Thursday in connection with Britain's involvement in the terrorist attack on its Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol. In August to September this year, the British conducted training for the crews of minesweepers transported to Ukraine. There's information that the British Navy has also delivered a certain number of BRAs to Ukraine, the ministry said. Escalation, telegram to the British ambassador. During her exit from the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a British diplomat did not want to make any statements. In a statement, the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs states that it expressed its strong protest to the British ambassador for the active participation of British military experts in the training of Ukrainians in order to carry out the attack on the naval station on the Black Sea. In connection with the reports of the Russian Ministry of Defense about the participation of Britain in the terrorist attack committed on October 29 on the ships of the Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol, the British ambassador Deborah Bronert was summoned to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs November 3rd. The ambassador expressed Russia's strong protest against the active participation of British military specialists in the training and resupply of Ukrainian Special Forces units, including for the purpose of carrying out sabotage operations. At the same time, concrete information was given about such an activity by London, the Russian Foreign Ministry said in an announcement, and as reported, the ambassador was informed that such confrontational action by the British risk escalation that may lead to unpredictable, dangerous consequences. The unacceptability of such hostile provocations was pointed out and a request was made that they stop immediately. In the event that such aggressive actions continue, the responsibility for the consequences and the development of tension in the relations between our states will fall entirely on the British side, the Russian Foreign Ministry says. The text message nailed Liz Truss. The terrorist attacks in the Nord Stream pipeline were beneficial to the US and UK, was involved in planning them, Russia's Security Council Secretary Nikolai Patrushev revealed on Thursday, speaking at a meeting of his Commonwealth of Independent States counterparts. He recalled that literally from the first minutes after the reports of the explosion along the Nord Stream 1 and 2 gas pipelines appeared, an active smear campaign was launched to assign responsibility to Russia. However, it's obvious that the main beneficiary of these terrorist attacks is the US, and the British Navy was involved in their planning and execution, according to the Russian Ministry of Defense, Patrushev said. The top Russian official stressed that what cannot be ignored is a text message from UK Prime Minister Liz Truss informing US Secretary of State Antony Blinken immediately after the gas pipeline bombing that everything is done. In general, as Patrushev noted, the US, using the most advanced technologies, created a favorable information field for itself, acting as organizers of smear campaigns and shifting the responsibility for what was happening to other members of the international community. This was from More News 247. It's a Greek article I translated for you. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.